Okay. Up. How's that sound? Okay. I want to apologize to start the stream if you hear a dog crying or barking. She's okay, but she is separate from her brother, so she is not making our life easy today. So, okay. Okay, so what I'm looking at right this second is how to get a form control binding Custom form controls. So, control value accessor. So, that's form control name. I'm not sure I want form control name. I think here's a solution. Control value accessor. I don't want form control. The standard pattern is okay to inject the container. Okay, so because what we need to do is be able to do this. Instead of selected there, we need to be able to say form control is country ISO code, right? And that needs to be valid. Now on simple select, we need to do, looks like we need to extend or implements control value accessor. And then we need to inject in the constructor for this. Private. I'm going to move this off screen at this point because it means that I don't have to flick back and forth. So, which I understand is jarring considering the speed at which I do it. Private control container is a control container. I'll import that. And then get a hold of form control instance no matter form control or control name. Okay, so then if we put these up top, right? What don't you like? Right. Equals no. I wonder if it's gonna let me do that. All of them. I kind of prefer that, if I'm honest. Okay. Doesn't hate me. What aren't you implementing though? Incorrectly implements. Oh, interesting. Implement interface. So apparently that needs all those things. Oh, okay. article is from 2016, so boy, Angular 17 control value. Finds an interface that acts as a bridge between Angular Forms API and native element in the DOM. Right, so I mean, so that's going to be right value is going to be if obj this dot this current equals this dot items dot find after id equals obj. Selected equals obj. See if that works. And then register on change. Oh, this article has been updated to Angular 17 and test with Angular 16. Okay. Building a custom form control. Provide ng value access. So that's the weird one. Providers. Switch component. That's the component here. So this example I'm looking at doesn't use these. I think front end is the one thing that I am more than happy to kind of look at examples, take the code, and try and figure it out later. It just takes so long. It's like I don't have an on. Is this actually setting the disable state, or is it that this is new to that thing? That's a new addition since this document was written. This document has apparently was written originally in 2016, but has been updated for every version of Angular since. So has been set to work. But obviously, from an API perspective, I want. He says, I want that. Right. I don't want any issues with. I've got a test. There's no way I'm getting to Angular testing at this point. So So what they do, this chaos upsets me. It's like, there you go. Okay, so then they do that. So then, now they're privates. And what they're doing is saying, okay, well, this dot on change equals fn, and this dot on touched equals fn. Well, that's doing is putting dummy events to nothing, right? So then do I do this dot on change dot emit true? Is that the right thing to do there? This dot on touched dot emit true. No, that's that one. If anything, I assume that's actually tap 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 tap, which means that that's the interaction there. Public is disabled, boolean was false. Do it right. I think we should probably this that is disabled equals disabled, and toggle select if this, if not. Okay. But that means we don't have any binding to these, so we've still got to figure out that part. Kind of in the mindset. So that doesn't give us, or maybe it does. Let's have a look. Let's see if it behaves, because I can simply test it by saying, okay, well, let's put the country ISO code dot value. We can just test that. Let's go and run client. Oh, still running from yesterday. Still running? Yep. Password. Okay, so yeah, that's not working. That should close. I selected it. This onChange emit is not a function. That's fine. So let's do. We can fix that simply by saying that. This onChanged emit is not a function. This onChanged emit is not a function. Okay. So let's remove them for right a second. But I do believe I'm not getting what I need, right? Because the dialog is selecting, but it's not, the value is not selected. Okay. Angular custom control, form control binding. 17. One thing I haven't done yet is asked AI. That's the same article. That's the one that comes up top. Best practices for form control isolate. implements control value accessor. Right. That's exactly the code I just implemented. Let's go to called. Called. I'm testing Gemini more than him. How do I add custom? How do I use form control? Custom control. I bet you it gives me the exact same code I'm looking at. Okay, so they're saying don't need that. Don't need that. Right? Every example is giving this one. The control value accessor establishes a communication channel between your custom control and the Angular form system. The write value, register change, and register untouched and set disable state methods are implemented to handle value updates, user interactions, and disable states. Providing ng value accessor tells Angular that your component can be used with form controls. Binding the control to form control in the template integrates it into the form structure. Remember to replace my form control with the actual form control name. That suggests that they've been asked the follow-up question to that has been, how do I start working? You can customize your controls behavior and appearance with a component class. Consider implementing validation logic using Angular's built-in validators. So, okay, so these three methods need to be implemented. Oh, these four methods need to be implemented, right? That is not happening. Ready? Let's see if it was. Okay, so okay, so we do get here, and we do have a function passed in. And we get into register. Okay, so we do get in there, and we do get the things necessary. Okay. So why? So I don't need to omit them. They'll work by default, is what it's suggesting. So I'm going to remove that. I'm going to do it exactly as Angular is showing. Oh, no. No. Actually, the demo is showing that. And actually, that can be private. So if you're watching and you have any questions about what I'm doing, you want to know more, you're more than welcome to ask. This stream is definitely one where I'm happy to talk about what I'm doing. But it's not binding, that's the problem. Actually, let's validate that actually before I write that off. Let's have a look at, this should bind to country ISO code, right? So complete registration when I click. Anyway, let's go and actually analyze and see if we do actually have any form data, and we can have a look at the other fields. Right, let's test. Company name, my company name. 123 Main Street. Right. And then let's. Okay, so let's bring up the console. Let's do this dot registration form dot controls. Let's do country ISO code dot value. Right, it's not setting that value. Hey Delta, how you doing? This is Angular, yes. Oops, sorry. That is not working. That is saying that basically if I put country ISO code dot value here, I should see it when I select it. It's not happening. Angular appears to be going the way of React, which worries me specifically with the whole server components thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's like things just kind of shift one way, then shift another way, then shift another way. It's constantly people coming along and inventing new ways to do things that are just they just work for now, and then they change up their mind on how it's going to work, right? So I don't know. So the problem with this is I'm not. How does this know that onChange has been triggered, right? If onChange is a function, how do I invoke that function? Right? There's nothing that can tell it. Yeah. Yeah, it's I get it. I'm not debating that. So essentially we're removing an event emitter, right? And we're saying this dot on change. Is that what I'm doing? This dot selected. Is it a function I'm setting? Am I calling a function? Let's see. I mean, realistically, the only way we have things that don't change is if we develop them ourselves, right? Simple company, 123 Main Street. I'm populating values so I can see. Oh, there you go. You do have it. Nice. I just got to make a usable control and we're good. What do you mean that's not usable? The popping's fine. Okay. So let's go back to here. Let's go back to step 2 component. Let's remove that value now. Now we know we're selecting it. And what do I want to do here? I want to let's put the validation in first. Let's make sure this is working the same way as that one, right? So this is 2 forms that are updating separate components of the same data set, right? These are loaded in the same page. So landing component actually has a switch in it, which has the individual steps. And I'm just toggling with the step, which one I'm seeing at any one time. So it's just switching the view out. So I'm updating an underlying object, which is being passed around, and then the forms are just being used to access the relevant fields on the object. So the registration is actually stored here, right? So when I submit, it's this that actually does the registration part. Good or bad? I don't know, but yeah. So now we need to go and put in, I think there was a disabled style I had on bottom one. Actually, I'm in the right link. Disabled PG Gray. Make sure that's updating. Yep, that is okay. Let's go and put our messages in. The way we do that is we basically put this under each control. I'll worry about the styling of an error message afterwards. I'm not panicked about that specific piece. So if company name is pristine, company name is required. Street address. Only state, province, or region is not required, which is just ultimately that would be required because ultimately I'm going to make this form more international, right? But I need a registration form that at least makes me enter the data I need right now and not something that's super restrictive and spend days getting all the right data and validating the cases. And because when you use a form like that for international data collection, you're basically saying, okay, well, now I need all the countries, and when I select a country, I have state. When I have state, I have town, and do the drop down. So it's very well, yeah. As the state is not required, and then postal code is required. And then let's see if it likes it for this one. Country ISO code, because I think touched might be the one I'm missing here. Country is required. Okay, so test. Pass. Okay. No validation firing, that's fine. Now the problem there is I have to fire the you can't unselect country, which is the challenge. Yes, I know the simple 1, 2, 3. Yeah, town. Yeah, state. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. we'll space it out afterwards and put the we'll put enough spacing into. I don't like it. I don't like the moving form, so that's not something to stick with. The country selection now. Let's tighten that up. So yesterday I was playing with this, obviously, because this drop down should go over the bottom of this, and it's not doing that, right? So we're tinkering with different ways of doing that. So let's see how we do. Okay, so it is. Yeah, yeah. But again, I could spend hours tightening that up, but that's not really good use of the stream, right? So it's jarring. I know it's jarring as user experience, so I'm definitely going to lay out the form so that the placeholder is reserved, and then put in some better error text and make it a little bit more obvious and not the same size. So and also I want to highlight the fields that are necessary as well. So that's going to be a thing. There's nothing worse than trying to fill in a form, not knowing what's required, then hitting register, or the button not appearing, and you have to go and see everything. You're going to kind of figure it out. So relative flex, content start. So is it that doing the okay, so that's that. So I think that's because this pop out is. Did I add a style in here? Yeah, I did. Relative, not overflow scroll, D50. So we did. I think we tried fixed yesterday here. I know how to test this. What's this? So if we go here, there you go. That's how we bypass it. Okay, so the drop down is almost perfect, right? In terms of its width, but now that this control doesn't fill out 100%. Because I took width 100 off this, or width full. What does this encompass? That encompasses everything. Width full, right? That's a button. So that fills out everything now. And that drop down works. Kind of. Why is that wider? So that is, if I put relative, that's next to it. I do absolute. It's bugging me that it's slightly wider. But I think it's the text that's actually forcing it. With 8 4/5. Yeah, because that's not gonna. If I do width full, Oh, that's actually right. Okay, that's better. It's not perfect, obviously. There's a few things wrong with this as a form, right? Ultimately, typing is useful here. Being able to click out of it as well is necessary. So how am I going to trigger that? How do I do that? Let's go over to here. Oh, listen. I need to know that a click event has happened, so I need to register an on click. Okay. So I need a host listener. This element ref. Hi Apex, how you doing? So to do that, I need to know. So I need a. So the way they recommend it, or the way that the AI recommends it, is by creating a directive. Yep, no worries. Thank you for the look, appreciate it. And then put a directive like click outside. That's one option. Using a host listener. Using renderer2. This approach uses the renderer2 service directly to attach an event listener to the document or another element. So you basically listen to the renderer. This might be cleaner for me. Okay, so let's do it that way. Let's do it this way actually. Let's do this. This is more custom control style. So what they're saying is I need to have a constructor again. And this takes a private L element ref, which I assume it was going to give me because it knows renderer 2. Let's import that. Assume that imported when I tabbed it. Yeah, let's remove that. Remove that. Remove that. So we don't have any mess in there. So with those in there, we then need to do two implements, right? We need after viewing it and on destroy. So let's implement them after viewing it, destroy, right? So ng after viewing it. So in here, this.renderer.listen document click event any. That's that. And then if not this dot el dot native element dot contains event dot target, then this dot Then we need to basically do toggle select. If this dot is select, this dot toggle select. So that will not if not this disabled and this select, that won't matter because actually that's in there, right? So even if I click it, but that should make sure that I close the, because we are select is if it's true, right? Okay, so then we need on and you have to on destroy. The reason we need to do that is because we need to dispose of the renderer reference. I assume. Yeah, we need to remove the, once we remove this control, otherwise we're going to leave a we're going to leave a trailing subscription and then, yeah. Oh, it doesn't like that. Expect 3 arguments, but got 2. Does that, is there a remove listener, I suppose? So document, click, oh. Yeah, that can't be that though. So, orphans, think about the orphans, exactly. Think about the children. Remove Afternoon Rambling Geek. How you doing? Listener from renderer. Need to sleep. Yeah. You not had any sleep? They're adamant that that is going to work. It's like the AI is convinced that's going to work, right? They're like messing with AI. It's just waiting for news. Yeah. Well, I mean, you were productive. I wanted to stay. I wanted to do this last night. I didn't want to do the form stuff on stream this morning, but this ended up being my only time. I didn't get the chance last night. The dog had his operation yesterday, and he was out of his mind. He's all like woo, and then he kind of woke up when I got home, and yeah, jumped up to give me a hug. I'm like, no, you can't jump. You can't jump. Remove listener from renderer. I got 17. That's the host listener. I wonder if I get a does this give me a callback? No. No, it returns an unlistened function. Yeah, okay. So we need a const unlisten, right? Because what this is a void, is a function. So this is basically this. Yeah. So Angular is just leaning on this, right? Private listen any, right? What am I doing wrong there? Equals any equals, right? Looks like he's doing well. He wants to jump. Yeah, but he's not many here. .NET Framework 4.8 building with Git actions. That's pretty cool that you're getting build pipelines in a self-hosted Git, right? That's pretty cool. Okay, so this dot listen actually it is unlisten. Unlisten. That is the weirdest function name that I've ever created, but it is unlisten, and they've coined the term, right? Because it returns an unlistened function. But there we go. That's how we do it. There we go. And it just thinks it's a typo. Save unlistened to the dictionary. There we go. Okay, so we have progress. It's not the nicest form in the world, but it will function, right? If I could just make it jump to the element that's selected. Yep, trying to get CI/CD going here with Windows Forms. Then if we move .NET Core, things will be easier for one. At least if you're getting automated build runs, etc., you know if things are crashing, you know, and as you work on unit tests, you can get things in there. That's pretty cool. Oh man. So form isn't perfect, right? If I do validation, it pops out, it moves around. That's not ideal, right? Unit tests on the list. So much to do. Well, if you ever want to sit down and go through some unit testing, I'm more than happy to do that. Sorry, the little bug right in front of me. Okay. So we can go back to step 1. Right now it's set to step 2, so that's got to change. We can do that. We can select a country. So I'm gonna say that this form is working. Well, I'm gonna validate it in a second that it's gonna function and actually commit. But just randomly typing numbers there. New Jersey, 123 Main Street. Hoboken. Company name. Okay, so what the heck? A little bug. So that's the only piece of information that's not required. But if I remove that, the button, yeah. So Hoboken, NJ. So now the form will validate. So that's cool. there's a lot of .NET 4 out there, the .NET older versions, right? Hopefully I'll get to learn 20 years in 5 years. I think as much criticism as Microsoft take, they've made a lot of effort to make sure that code can be moved, right? They haven't, like, I'm going through the effort of moving from PHP 5.6 to PHP 8, right? There's a massive difference in some of the ways that you do things and some of the tooling you use, and some not the tooling, some of the patterns you use, and the structure and stuff that makes things not PHP 8 compatible. And .NET doesn't have too much incompatibility. It's the framework that, you know, has a few quirks here or there, but the code for the most part will transfer and work still, right? So you can still use a lot of the features that were available in .NET 2 in .NET 8, right? But they're not completely gone. PHP has deprecated them and actually removed them. So you could argue that PHP is doing it the right way, in that they're saying, okay, well, the code has to be this way, but .NET will allow you to take that code and build it in a new framework for the most part, with a few changes here and there, and it generally works pretty well. Web forms, that's a bit of a different beast, because they dropped it and then didn't drop it, right? So yeah, one nice thing about .NET is major philosophies haven't changed yet. Pros and cons: some people don't learn the new way of doing things in code. That is a massive, yeah. Now I think the style of code has changed a lot in that time. I think C#, specifically C#, has some identity issues in terms of, we don't know what it is, and what it's going to be. And .NET 9 looks like it's very controversial right now. Hi, King Coffee again. How you doing? Yeah, the older I get, the easier it is to get out of date. I think the older we get, there's just more technology to use, and when people keep reinventing things, it gets harder to follow who's what, who's cool, what's the purpose. Yeah, so that's why I realize that I might be using technologies that aren't cool. I might be using technologies that aren't the best, but I understand why I'm using them, and I feel that the way I develop can adapt to newer styles if newer things come along. So that over there. One major downside of having Discord on the dev machine is it doesn't know when I've gone to streamer mode. I think it knows if you're actually using it in the streamer. Yeah. They're not doing very much right now. So it's kind of like, why are you bothering? There's nothing, I don't think there's very, let's have a look. .NET. Let's have a look on stream. This is worth a diversion. So there's been some, the Reddit apparently blew up with why are you bothering? Let's see. February. Tools for cloud native. AI. And then some fixes. Oh look, .NET 9 release notes. What's new in .NET 9? Indentation options, default web options, and count by and aggregate by link methods. Priority queue remove. Hey, priority queue. Yeah. It looks like a pretty uninspiring release so far, but nothing. Apparently the Reddit blew up with like real criticism of them. I'm like, well, they're continuing to maintain it, they're continuing to improve it, they're continuing to make it faster, so I really can't complain. Okay, I'm gonna not worry too much about doing the rest of the refinements that drop down on stream, right? I'm gonna worry more about getting the form to submit now. Hi, Wallen. How you doing? Good morning. I'm not aware. Online is another .NET developer. Also building very cool things in .NET, including games on stream, which I'm impressed with. I like the shoot game. Well, thank you for saying hi. I hope your morning gets less busy. Busy mornings are not a good way to start, I find. Although progress, by the way, we do have, I don't know if you've been watching at all so far, but we do have the drop down filling out, overflowing, and I can click out and close it. So the control is more usable than it was yesterday. The laid back ones are still productive. This morning feels busy, and that's awesome. Busy often gets can make things run faster, I suppose, as well. But yeah. So we have a workable control. So that's good. Okay. Yeah. As I read your message, I was replying, and then I'm like, I know what you mean there. So that's why I flipped. Okay, so let's save that. I'll refresh. Why you no refresh? Come on. No, current step is step 1. That's all I need to change, right? Oh, step 1. Change that one, not that one. Okay. So we have a form, we have a registration. We now need a confirmation page, right? To land in. How's that going to look? We get to do bad chart time. So I'm terrible at time-based diagramming. This is going to be challenging. So I'm going to kind of do it in a no, I can't. I just need to flow it through. So there's no point trying to be clever with the charting here because I'm not clever. So we register. That will then store save in DB, right? it will also, at that point, trigger a Auth0, it'll create a user in Auth0, right? This is why I'm bad at charting. That will send an email. Like, I know this can be represented in not again, whatever the chart is that shows timelines. So now this register, when it saves back, when this is saved, this goes to a complete registration screen. This is just a hey, click the finish button, you're done, right? When they click that email, I need something to say this user. So do I generate a token that I validate on the server? What's the right way of doing that? But I can't control the email. They're verifying the user. No, that it doesn't matter. No, they don't verify from our perspective. It's just an argument to this. Oh, come on. Let me bring up the I'm obviously not going to bring my email up on screen. Verify email. Okay, so it gives me a ticket to click, which I verify. That lets me log in, and then is custom auth hard then? Auth0. Custom, if you're building, yeah, authentication authorization stuff is not easy to build. I would not do custom auth in any app that you require actual security in. I would definitely look at alternatives. Auth0, for what I'm using right now, is free. Right, I can use Auth0. If I start to use a lot of Auth0, like I put this platform live, then and actually take paying customers, then I'd be spending a significant amount of money. Actually, that you can go on their developer account and they're still okay with that in production. Yeah. Hi, Mulvey, by the way. Good day. So what I'm looking at right this second, I'm just trying to look at the do I care? I suppose I don't care about the user being registered or verified. To me, essentially, the first time they log in, they're verified because they've clicked. I think I need to come back to this workflow. I don't think I can do it right now. I think I need to review some things because Auth0 will let you log in as an unverified user, right? I don't know if I can put in whether I need to put in an API check in Auth0 or something, because when you log in, when you press that button, right, it signs you in whether you're verified or not in Auth0. I don't get that information though in that request. Like, it doesn't tell me whether you're verified in the login token. It just says, hey, no. So I think I need to put a bit more work into that. What does it mean to verify the user? Because essentially what I need to do is, if they try to log in and they're not verified, I need to, but I don't know that at the point I click this button, right? I don't know who they are. I only know who they are when they try to log in. So I could put a custom flow in, maybe. Post user registration. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the right way to do that is. So maybe that's something that I actually could discuss with Auth0, more specifically Corey. But yeah. Okay, so let's actually move forward with the application at this point. Let's stop that running. So obviously yesterday I had the opportunity to present my here's why I'm doing this platform. One thing I'm mindful of is I don't want to keep repeating myself in that, but I don't think the announcements were the same. So I think I need to set up a blog or something similar to be able to point people at. So I'm going to try and work on that separately. Again, I don't like doing that stuff on stream. It's not. I know it's not fun. So let's go and do this. Client application register. So rework address to be simpler. Validate still worked. Added forms for registering company. Added validation. Need to create something to track. I literally have 8 windows and dozens of tabs open. This is awesome. By awesome, I mean insane. Do this. As a reasonable person. Validation, standardization. Need to create a style and modify registration forms to not jump around, display error messages cleanly, highlight required fields. Good. Tags. I don't think I'm logged in. Oh, I am. Why is that not offering tags? I don't think this is logged in properly. Oh, and it's creating water, drink water. I mean, that's why. I mean, the wrong project. There's no tags in water, drink water. Oh dear. Uh, can I move it to a different board? Move issue. Liquid sky. Tags. There we go. Registration. User registration. UI. That's better. Liquid sky. There you go. So right now, everything kind of sits under this create client, right? Let's create a new issue or create landing page. Page for user logged in. UI landing page dashboard, we'll call it. Let's move that into this board. Obviously, assign it to me. I do have a friend that I asked if they wanted to join some of the. That's what developer one is. If you see it, that offer still stands, but it's hard to kind of schedule. So that's why developer one appears there. So I have been tempted to ask a few people to help, or to if they wanted to. But the challenge with doing it that way is if you take other people into the project, then you end up having to do PRs, and some of them you can't do on stream, some of them you can't review effectively, because you've got what you're doing on stream versus what you're doing off, and you're trying to coordinate that, figure out the work, who does what when. You might pick up a piece of work because it's more interesting. You know, there's all sorts of challenges that come with working with other people. But again, it would be nice to kind of build this a little quicker. Added forms for registering company, added validation, custom tailwind, control for drop down. Let's just go with that for right this second. Okay. I won't forever ignore those linter errors, but they're not problems. They're just the linter disagreeing with how I should do certain things, and it's not something I want to focus on. So, okay, so there we go. We got that. Let's see what happens now. So, let's go make a PR. Emergency development. Ooh, that's a lot of files. It's running unit tests. This is the thing I need to do on water drink water as well. Get the GitHub action running so that the unit tests that are there do pass still. taking a long time. Well over 150 tests now. That's considering I'm trying to be. Did you went to boot camp? No. I taught myself. Well, I learned a lot in the beginning, and I've been self-guided, I suppose is the right way. It's not. I don't think it's actually correct to say I taught myself. I think self-guided in that I'm reading books, doing code, asking questions. I've taken a few courses over the years, but nothing drastic that's going to change that. So, nope, I have no degrees. No. I tried to go to college in the UK for development, but the course that I was on was not sufficient, and then I had to drop out. So I'm gonna take this as is. I've been a developer for 25 years this year. I started as a professional developer. Well, yeah, as a professional developer, I started developing in 1999. Hey, what's going around here? Yes, sir. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Been a while. Well, things are okay. So yeah, I mean, I've been developing. I mean, I've been tinkering with coding since I was 5. I really kind of got into it in my mid-teens though, so I kind of got into it in like I was 15, 16, picking up C++. I got more involved as I went through college, and then yeah. Well, thanks. I saw some crazy Angular codes the other day. I also saw a great hot chocolate implementation and read database with CQRS implementation. Yeah, things have progressed quickly. Things went from 0 to 60 in a very short amount of time. Is what we're about to start looking at. I mean, professionally, I've used Basic, Bol and Delphi, which is a Turbo Pascal implementation, PHP and C#, and obviously JavaScript and things like that. Yeah. So yeah, we have a nice registration form now. Go through here and register, and yeah, starting to take shape. I don't. I've taken the later I've got in my career, the more I've kind of said, hey, I don't need to go off and try and learn a new language. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that part for fun. I like building software, right? So I would rather build software with what I know, or maybe grow in the technologies that I use professionally, than I would, hey, let's go and learn this new language. I mean, Rust is obviously starting to gain some traction, but why jump into Rust? What's that going to do for me right now? I've got to start with learning a new language. I've got to pick up from scratch, and then see if I can be as productive as the language I already worked in. So I don't tend to collect languages and say that I know all these different languages, because I don't think it's as effective in software development professionally as that. I mean, I'm not saying don't keep an eye on other languages, but I don't focus on them. I think API Gateway will come. You can try YARP. Well, I actually do have an API Gateway in here already. It is actually configured. I can use it. So this is using Ocelot, and so Ocelot is the API Gateway tool, and it uses Console for its backing and stores its configuration in Console. And then actually Console also becomes the API monitoring tool, so I can see the state of the APIs. So I can get health checks and stuff from them. So it actually is Actually, it is functional already. One of the first things I did. But that being said, when it comes to deployment, I don't want to necessarily go that path because that requires more machines, more resources. So if there's another option that kind of combines the two, that is definitely something I'd want to investigate. So have you used YARP? Okay, so did I do that merge? I did not do that merge. Where are we? Who am I? Which way is up? Okay, all the tests passed, everything's good. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not. API gateways is something that I have not spent a lot of time with, so I'm more than happy to. I don't want to do it now, but I will do it. For right now, I want to get the application. I want to get logged into the application and start seeing this planning stuff. The gateway is the gateway is the gateway right now, right? Yeah. So master few languages and framework or only one. I don't think you ever the way that technology moves. I don't think you ever. I think it's wrong to say you master anything. Um, Gotcha. Thank you for that, Asa. I appreciate the insights. Um, I think that to say you've mastered a framework or a language, I think you the talent you gain is the ability to grow and move with the language or move with the frameworks and stuff, and that's all seniority brings you, right? It doesn't give you um doesn't give you any uh necessarily ability. Time doesn't give you ability, just the ability to say, hey, I've done this, I've practiced this, I've changed this, I've learned this, and gives you more insights into how to gain more knowledge if you're using it correctly. Otherwise, time just means time, right? It doesn't mean any better skill. Mr. Anhorn, good morning. Yeah, the gateway we can swap out later, so we'll focus on that at another point. That might be something I research off stream and do a little bit of tinkering with. So like the open telemetry stuff. Okay, so that's merged. So we should be able to check this out. An update. That front end. So actually at this point, I'm almost ready to delete this one. Right? And I think we'll do that once we get the not worried about this right this second, that's a GraphQL thing. Once we get the landing page in, we can move forward with the next piece. Okay. Let's branch that. That's done. T40 is done. Create a landing page. So cancel. So this is it's just me thinking at the same time. This is once they click this button, this should redirect into the application and show a banner across the top, and that's it, right? If you want to produce something quickly and product oriented, developing in the language you know will speed you up. Apart from not learning a new language will add a new perspective. It depends on what you want to do. Yeah, true. I forgot about that point because I've said before, right? I picked up Ruby on Rails to pick up MVC because it had a good implementation at the time compared to what .NET was. So yeah, tinkering with the languages can help, but I think you've got to be mindful of other things existing and keep an eye on the technologies moving but definitely, not just stick with something for the sake of sticking with something, but obviously if I wanted to develop an application right now, right, developing this application, I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to pick up Rust and I'm going to build this in Rust because it's the coolest thing, right? I can't be as quick, I can't be as productive, and yes, some days I'm not very quick on this, I get that, but I have to learn a whole lot more to pick up Rust and develop an application in any form. So I'd rather build applications and do things like this. And that's where that's where my enjoyment comes from, right? Building the application is key to me. So it's a part of the game. But yeah, as for mastery, I don't think we ever master technology. I think it just keeps moving too fast, and you grow the ability to adapt and to pick up new things a little quicker as you get more experienced. If you let yourself. Also, learning the language is not all there is to it. You have to learn and build and deploy and polish them. Yeah. It might be cool to say, hey, I built this thing in Rust, but then how do you build it out and how do you build that? I'm picking on Rust because I've read some reason my news feed is so full of Rust right now. It's not even funny. Like, we should be using Rust. The government says we should use Rust. Things don't end with learning a language. Learning a new language is not a problem. You also need to learn other things like CI/CD, scaling, monitoring. Yeah, you and Mr. Ranhorn saying, don't worry about the programming language, focus on creating. Yeah. I think we all on the same page. I think we all understand it enough. Yeah, so Mulvey, I mean, depends on what you want to do, but I mean, again, if you're looking for a job, look at the sort of things that are being done. I would say, being a bit too long, yeah. I would say you do want to find something you are passionate about, find something that you're energetic about, and chase that. It will make it a lot easier, right? Well, Wolf, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome. Number 850, thank you very much. I need to put a new milestone in place, I think. But you should enjoy what you do. I think you really have to enjoy what you do, and sometimes you're not going to. Hello, how you doing? But you should try and look at that. If you've got the choice now, look at where you want to head. What do you want to do? What sort of stuff are you passionate about? Do you like building web apps? Do you like building databases? Do you like building machines? Do you like building IoT stuff? Right? So, okay. What am I doing now? I am going to make a new branch. Actually, I'm going to delete this one first. This one's done. I'm trying to be very rigid about cleaning up old branches. I know that there could be some, hey, well, what if you make a mistake? What if you need to go back to that branch? But as long as the application builds, and it does because the test pass, I'm going to move forward, and that's the kind of approach I'm taking. I'm not being, oh, what if? Feature T, it should be 41, right? That one, T of 45. Yeah. Oh, I need to make sure I don't lose track of the other thing as well. So, unresolved, new issue. My very point is that the backlog is where stories go to die. And yeah, I'm about to put something in that's going to sit there till. I need to track. What do I need to track? I need to say, okay, password validation. As a user, I should not be allowed to enter an invalid password. Password requirements from auth0. This is the one challenge with doing it this way, right? Because I'm not letting auth0 do the registration piece. I'm doing, because I don't think auth0 has callbacks, right? So I'm registering the user, when the user's registered and saved in my system, I then use the Auth0 API to register that user with the password in there, right? So my password I'm setting the password requirements. Well, if Auth0's password requirements change, my password requirements might not match anymore. So I don't know of any way to pull them from there. So yeah. User registration, UI, create. Okay. So anyone new joining, if you've been watching for a while or you've not been watching at all, then what I am working on is an Agile platform. It is built because I believe that I have some opinions on how we should develop software and how we should manage and plan software development. So I'm building a platform for that. The stream is not about me being productive. The stream is about me developing some of the code, but also being able to talk about it, answer questions, offer whatever experience I can, and share that. So, yeah, do not feel that you have to sit there and watch. If you have questions, if you want to talk about stuff, as long as it's on topic, right? If it's just random stuff everywhere, then it gets a little harder to focus on the actual topic at hand. But yeah. Landing page. Okay. So this may be simple, right? If you haven't been here before, you are seeing me at my weakest. I am in the UI, and the UI is not where I am happy. I try, but yeah. Okay, so this, I've already set up a dashboard page, right? Now this could be a matter of routing. It could be it could be so Angular has the app routes, right? So I will have to put route guards in place because obviously you can, right now I can go to dashboard if I run the app up. Client book. We just don't want to start. No, we're doing it. Oh yeah, we're doing it. That's gonna start it multiple times. Don't do this to me now. I get why I did it now the other day. Okay. So if I go to nice, I will get to dashboard, but I'll get to dashboard even if I'm not logged in, right? So that's now signed me in. So I get to dashboard anyway. Hey Sally. Do you use something like Mediator in your personal projects? Seems like it adds so much complexity from what I've seen on their dots. I do. Yeah, I use it in this application. That's funny you asked that, actually, because I've been working on a video for how you introduce Mediator into your projects and why it helps. So yeah, if you're interested, I will work on that video and highlight how it's used. So I mean, ultimately, I'm using it from, and I'm using a different library, but the same concept. That's gonna be something I'd like to watch. Yeah, I've been writing the script out for it. But I'm using Mediator, but they are essentially compatible. So I will demonstrate using Mediator, but ultimately this sends a command, and then that command is processed and handled. So yeah, I will I'll put some time into that video this week. Okay, let's go over here. So we need a few things, right? We need route guards and we need a redirect on logged in, right? Because if you're logged in, you don't want to see this page, right? So I'm not sure off the top of my head how to do that. So let's have a look. Chocolate. We'll get to GraphQL as soon as, if we can get through this before the end of the stream, which is looking slim. We'll talk about GraphQL more. Angular, route guards, redirect. Let's see. As if we can get 2 birds, 1 stone. Okay, there's 3 ways. So it looks like everyone suggests 3 different ways. Oh, that's the same one. Okay, that's the same code. That's 2019. User can activate guard. But it looks like you kind of use... Oh, okay, that's why. So what they do is create... This doesn't solve the redirect. Ugh. Let's have a look. Windows 17 route guard. Let's see if there's a difference. Yeah, can activate interfaces deprecated. That's one of the concerns. Can activate. Because I've noticed a lot of Angular 17 so far has got some changes that mean that it's not quite as friendly. And I'm still yet to get to signals. That's just triggered my ugh. Implementing route guard using signal authentication. Let's not overcomplicate this a lot. So route guard is basically, hey, you have to be logged in for this. So can activate. Let's have a look. Let's see if it complains at me. Spectre Misfit, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome. All right, it's now a function. Whereas previously it was a... No, that's right. That's the same thing. Implements can activate. So do I want a route guard here is the question. So that's correct. can deactivate for safe changes. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Activate. I'm not the routing. I'm not testing quite so much. Deprecated. Okay. Angular router. Okay. So then we look up alternative. Activate the router. It looks like it's still there. Compatibility. That person didn't. Okay, 2024. I do enough about Angular front ends. Blazor, I rely on the Microsoft identity. Blazor, if I authorize users, then I can use authorized attributes in the authorized view component when I want to block hide UI stuff. There's also another thing I can access either. Authorized. Pages that are protected by authorized are redirect to login if they're not logged in. Yeah, we actually on Monday's stream on Water Drink Water, because we kind of rolling our own off in that one deliberately to highlight the challenges and the risks, and we implemented an ASP, authentication state provider, so we could do the authorized stuff. It's not working perfectly, but it's kind of getting there because that uses Blazor, that project. Yeah, but Angular seems to prefer this route guard stuff. I see you're using TypeScript. I have a question. So in one of our projects, the team wants to decide whether to use JS or TS. What justification would you give if you want to convince them to use TS instead of JS? What's your backend? If your backend is C#, then I would say kind of familiar patterns, familiar designs. And are you using just raw? You're looking at using raw. Yeah. I mean, type safety in TypeScript, yeah. So, I mean, it's a similar design. Type safety is definitely something that you can implement. The problem is you can get around it really quickly when it starts to get frustrating. I mean, if you're using something like Angular, you don't really have the option, do you? Right? But I mean, I suppose the biggest question to ask is what's the skill level, right? If you're making that discussion and you can't decide, that suggests that you have people on your team that neither it doesn't really make a difference to. So in which case I go with TypeScript over that purely for type safety, introducing better practices because it will help keep your JavaScript more rigid. Because normally you'd have people that are kind of experts anyway that are going to argue the cause there. So if it's a debate, then it sounds a little bit more like, don't know. So okay, so now it just becomes functions. Okay, that's why. Because it can inject. Okay, so what we need to do is go to shared. Is this helpers? Yeah, I suppose it is helpers. guards, we'll call it for now. Go with interface. Route. Guards. Up there, we don't need to do that. Actually, it's a university project and we are not all experts, so the other team members want to go with JS since it's easy, but I just wanted to understand what advantages does TS. Okay, so it's a school thing. Okay, so JS being easy, I don't think there's a necessary. I'm primarily a backend developer, right? It's my comfort zone. On the client side, I would go with TypeScript every time purely because it gives you similar design patterns, and again, the type safety is what, like one line mentioned, that is a key thing to remember. But it gives you the ability to write classes and interfaces and things like that that align more closely with the way you think on the back end code. If you're splitting up and people are doing front end and back end, that's, you know, for a university project, if you don't have to understand it all, or you're worried about time, if you've got people that are really comfortable with JavaScript, then you might have to say that. Are you using a framework though? Are you just using raw JavaScript and HTML? In which case, TypeScript might be a little harder to introduce. I don't think I've done that in a long time. Just use TypeScript in a regular application without a framework around it. One of the challenges is if you're building an application and you're doing it from scratch, you're gonna come along with some challenges. If you're building a SPA, if you're just building straight pages and putting code in them, then the JavaScript might be the most practical way of doing it. It very much depends on how you're actually laying out the application as to which actual path I'd take. Yeah, you can use TypeScript still. It's not impossible. You just need the pieces to do the interpretation, right? Like you said, Webpack. So raw JavaScript requires less tooling. But if you're just doing plain pages with code, then JavaScript is the best option. But I'd say why. Okay. Well, the C# though. Django is not. That's Python. Right? Yeah, Django is Python. I think an ad's about to start, but I also do need to finish on time today. Yeah, Python. Okay, so let's have a look at this. But I mean, I would say you don't want to get stuck on that decision. If it's a school project, you want to go with a decision that most of you can live with, right? You want to debate and look at the way you might write some code and how it might align. If you're using React, then I think React is comfortable with either way, right? So, oh no, this again. Oh no, we can do it. Is authenticated. App. Oh my goodness me. Hold on, why does that need? Promise return from navigators ignored. So does that mean I can do that? Yes. I'm still trying to learn my way. Using async in Java in the client side is way more difficult. It's not assignable to Oh, come on. Observable Boolean. No worries, Apex. Thank you very much for hanging out, as always. Take care, man. Have a good day. Is not assignable to can activate function type observable Boolean. Not assignable to type Boolean URL tree or tree. Okay. URL tree. Okay, that's why. Inject. So router dot create URL tree. Const result equals create URL tree. Dashboard. Wait has no effect. There you go. Turn results. That's healthy, right? Then in here, you do. Oh, you gotta go on the whole signal thing. In the routes now, can activate becomes can activate. Right? How to replace. That's not showing me how to replace though. Where does they call it? Not silent to type any. It's not. Can activate function. Come on, I want to get this. Can activate auth guard. Export const auth guard. Auth guard. Hold on. Inject. They're injecting that as service. No, that's the same thing. Right? So this is the function. Can activate function. Returns that. And then in here, can activate is an array of can activate. There we go. That's better. My auth guard is now a function rather than a. Okay. So now, the problem is I can't log out. If I go to dashboard now, that works. But I need to log out. So let's think of a log out button. So let's add a log out button. Landing app component. Landing here. On. Let's go. I'm gonna literally whack a app log out button in there. Okay, and then if we try to go to dashboard, it doesn't. So then the next question would be, is authenticated? Catch error goes there. Okay. Different challenge. Okay. Well, unfortunately, I have to call it here on the stream. So, no break ends. Okay. Thanks for streaming, listening, work while I still worked. Family Geek, thank you very much. Appreciate you hanging out. Hope all is well. Or at least more answers are incoming. I will be back tomorrow. I'll try and do as much of this as I can later today so that I don't end up with a hey, look at me struggle through authentication. So tomorrow we're going to get a layout in there, we're going to get menus in there, we're going to get the log out button in the actual screen and go through that entire thing. So thank you very much for joining me. I am going to raid out. Right thing to do. I'm going to go over to Captain Coda. He's the only dev streamer I can see. I'm always open to if you know of other .NET developers doing similar things, if they're streaming, if you're looking to start streaming and you want to stream, bring up your stream as I'm finishing. I will happily raid over. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you hanging out, and hope you your day gets a little less busy. And yeah. The Captain Coder. Oh, I assume most of you. So, just the right kind of busy. Okay, the coding. Yeah. So, thank you all. Take care. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye all.